It was a hot afternoon in Milan, and the city's streets were bustling with tourists and locals exploring the luxury boutiques. Among them walked Sadio Mané, one of the greatest football players in the world. Known for his humility and extraordinary talent, Mané had never been swayed by the glamour of fame. He dressed simply, without flashy jewelry or expensive clothes, but his presence always drew attention. That day, after attending a commitment with his team, he decided to enter the Gucci store to buy some gifts for friends and family. As he walked through the store's glass doors, he felt the weight of the stairs falling upon him like sharp blades. They were not looks of admiration, like the ones he received in stadiums, but rather of suspicion. The store manager, a middle-aged woman named Martina, noticed Mané as soon as he entered. With a look of disdain, she assessed his simple outfit, a dark hoodie and ordinary sneakers. She didn't recognize him. To her, he was not a global football star, but just another black man who, in her prejudiced view, did not belong there. Mané walked over to a shelf displaying exclusive handbag models. He picked one up and examined it with interest. A salesperson approached, ready to assist him, but before he could say anything, Martina intervened. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice cold. Mané smiled politely. "Yes, I'm interested in this bag. Could you show me some other models?" Martina crossed her arms and raised an eyebrow, her tone becoming even sharper. "These bags are very expensive. Maybe you'd find something more affordable at another store." Mané blinked, surprised by her approach. He was used to media attention, to fans asking for photos, but he never imagined that, in a luxury store, he would be treated with such suspicion. "I know how much they cost. I'd like to see more models." The manager scoffed impatiently. Her gaze swept over Mané from head to toe, as if deciding whether he was worthy of being there. "Sir, I think you should leave. This store isn't for just anyone." A heavy silence fell. The other employees and customers inside the store exchanged glances, some recognizing Mané and looking shocked at what they were witnessing. But before anyone could intervene, Martina called security. "Please escort this man out of the store." Two security guards appeared almost instantly, and without questioning the situation, surrounded Mané. He raised his hands in a peaceful gesture, but his expression showed disbelief. "I just wanted to buy a bag," he said, his voice firm but not aggressive. "And I'm asking you to leave," Martina replied, unyielding. Without resisting, Mané turned and walked out of the store, feeling the weight of the stairs on him like a burden. But outside, a crowd had already formed. Some fans who were there recognized him, and upon realizing what had happened, they began to react. "That was racism!" one of them shouted. "Do you even know who he is? This is outrageous!" another exclaimed. The rumors spread quickly, and soon dozens of people were surrounding the store entrance, outraged by the situation. Someone recorded everything and posted it on social media. Within minutes, the videos went viral. Mané's name was trending worldwide. The outrage grew like an uncontrollable fire. Some people began banging on the store's glass, demanding that the manager apologize. Others threw objects at the windows, which started to crack. Chaos erupted in a matter of minutes. Inside the store, Martina began to realize that she might have made a colossal mistake. She looked at the employees, who seemed terrified at what was about to unfold. But it was already too late to turn back. The atmosphere outside the Gucci store was growing more and more tense. The outraged crowd kept increasing by the minute, and the angry shouts echoed through the luxurious street of Milan. Meanwhile, inside the store, Martina began to feel the weight of her decision. Her face was pale, and her hands trembled slightly as she watched the store's glass windows being struck by the protesters. "What's happening?" one of the sales assistants asked, clearly frightened. Martina didn't answer. She stared at the entrance where the security guards, now hesitant, were trying to hold back the advancing crowd. The regional manager of Gucci, a man named Alessandro, had received an urgent call and arrived at the store in a hurry. When he saw the chaotic scene, his eyes widened in shock. "What the hell happened here?" he asked, looking directly at Martina. She opened her mouth to speak, but hesitated. She knew that if she told the truth, she might get herself into even more trouble. Outside, Mané was still standing on the sidewalk, watching everything unfold with a mix of surprise and sadness. He hadn't wanted this to happen. He had always been a peaceful man, avoiding conflicts and scandals. But at that moment, he felt firsthand what so many others had experienced before: discrimination. The first glass window shattered with a loud crash, and a furious group stormed into the store. Mannequins were knocked over, shelves were overturned, and clothes were thrown to the ground. The employees ran to the back of the store, fearing for their safety. Martina took a step back, terror written all over her face. "Alessandro, we need to call the police," she exclaimed, her voice shaking. But Alessandro didn't respond right away. He was glued to his phone, reading the comments on social media. The video of the incident had already reached millions of views, and the hashtags #ReRacism at Gucci and Justice for Maine were trending worldwide. Celebrities, athletes, and influencers from all over the globe were speaking out, condemning the store's actions. The damage to Gucci's reputation was already immense. Outside, Mané finally decided to act. He took a few steps forward and raised his hands, signaling for the crowd to calm down. Some people noticed his gesture and began to settle, while others continued shouting in protest. "Please, stop," he said, his voice firm yet filled with emotion. "This is not what I want. This is not how we solve things." Gradually, the people started backing away. Mané's presence, with his always peaceful demeanor, brought a sense of order to the chaos. He didn't need violence to prove what was already evident to the entire world. He had been a victim of discrimination. The police arrived a few minutes later, but the situation was already more under control. The protesters had dispersed, leaving behind a wrecked store and a manager who could barely stand from the shock. The officers tried to approach Mané, but Alessandro, realizing the gravity of the situation, intervened. "Leave him alone," the regional manager said. He then turned to Mané and took a deep breath before continuing. "I'm Alessandro, the manager responsible for this Gucci store. On behalf of the company, I want to apologize for what happened here. This was unacceptable." Mané studied Alessandro for a moment, trying to gauge his sincerity. He had seen public apologies before in similar situations. Many of them felt more like attempts to protect a brand's reputation than genuine remorse. "It wasn't the store that did this to me," Mané replied calmly. "It was the attitude of a person." He then looked directly at Martina, who now kept her eyes down, unable to meet his gaze. "But that person represents your store, represents Gucci," he continued, turning back to Alessandro. "So I ask you, what are you going to do about it?" Alessandro swallowed hard. He knew the whole world was watching and that his response would be crucial for the company's image. "This situation will be handled with the seriousness it deserves," he said. "Gucci does not tolerate racism under any circumstances." At that moment, another group of journalists arrived on the scene, their cameras and microphones aimed at Mané and Alessandro. Questions started flying from every direction. "Mané, how do you feel after this situation? Do you plan to take legal action against Gucci? Will the store take disciplinary action against the manager?" Mané took a deep breath before responding. "I feel sad, but not surprised. Racism is still a reality, even for someone in my position. But what matters now is not me. What matters is making sure this doesn't happen to anyone else." The journalists captured every word. The video of his statement quickly spread online, amplifying the impact of the case even further. Meanwhile, Alessandro pulled Martina aside inside the store. She knew this was her last day there. In the days following the incident, the story gained massive worldwide attention. Gucci faced boycotts and fierce criticism from all over the world. Fans of Sadio Mané, activists, and even other celebrities spoke out, demanding that the brand take concrete action against structural racism within its stores. The company tried to contain the damage as quickly as possible. It issued an official statement publicly apologizing to Mané and to anyone who felt offended by the manager's behavior. However, the initial response was deemed insufficient. The outrage on social media continued, and the pressure mounted for real action to be taken. Because of this, Gucci called a global press conference. The event took place in Milan, at the company's headquarters, and was broadcast live on multiple media channels. On stage were Alessandro, Gucci's CEO, and to everyone's surprise, Sadio Mané himself, who agreed to participate after lengthy discussions with the brand about how to turn the situation into something positive. The CEO spoke first. "We would like to start by acknowledging the serious mistake that occurred in one of our stores. The treatment given to Mr. Sadio Mané was unacceptable and does not reflect the values we want to uphold. Therefore, in addition to publicly apologizing, we want to announce a series of concrete measures to combat racism within our company." The measures included the creation of a global training program for employees on diversity and inclusion, the hiring of specialized consultants to combat racial prejudice, and the expansion of opportunities for minorities within the company. Additionally, a support fund for social projects in Africa was announced, aimed at education and entrepreneurship, with a significant initial investment. After the CEO's statement, the journalists turned their attention to Mané. He took the microphone, took a deep breath, and began to speak with his characteristic calmness. "I'm not here for myself. I don't want an apology just for me. I want this to serve as a real change for many people who go through this every day and don't have a voice. If this situation can bring something positive, then let it be a real transformation." His speech was met with applause and quickly went viral on social media. Many people praised his stance, seeing him as an example of dignity and resilience. Meanwhile, the store manager Martina was officially fired from Gucci and, according to reports, was being sued by former customers who claimed to have experienced similar discrimination in the past. Her actions were not forgotten, and she faced serious consequences both professionally and socially. A few days later, Mané was spotted at another luxury store, this time in Paris, where he was received with respect and admiration. He bought the gifts he wanted without any trouble, and as he left, was applauded by customers and employees alike. The episode left a lasting impact on Gucci, but also served as a reminder that racism still exists in many spaces, regardless of status or fame. However, thanks to Mané's courage and the mobilization of people worldwide, an act of discrimination was turned into an opportunity for change. And above all, it proved that true luxury is not found in a brand label, but in the way we treat one another.